allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I would like to call this Buildings and Grounds meeting to order. Kathy, would you take roll, please?
Lee,
Here.
Hayes. Here. Chicken.
Here. All right, two things tonight. We will start with the signage for Old Town Hall. And I'm going to turn that over to the mayor to walk us through what we have here.
Okay. Thank you, Tommy. I texted everybody and Buildings and Grounds folks obviously have seen the updated version. Scott is on board with the signage. We dropped it from what its original size was gonna be to 8 by 8. Mr. King has assured me that we will do in-house the can lights to put light onto that sign. The current price has dropped dramatically into the $6,000 or $7,000 range. The sign is two-sided. It features the address, so you can't miss it. It features the utility department, the Sterling Theater, and the chamber, and then the blank space for whatever we end up doing with the basement. The theater group, I reached out to those folks, and they are on board with chipping in whatever we feel is fair for their portion of the sign. They have the money, they have the means, and they, every year try to contribute anyway monetarily to what we do down there. That's kind of one of their deals. So I can't think of anything else unless you guys have any questions. Mr. Branham is ready to proceed. It's most of it is extruded aluminum, which he has in stock, and assures me that in 4 to 6 weeks or less, we will have a sign as soon as I call him and say we are okay with the sign.
Who's Mr. Brown?
Mr. Branham,
Branham.
sorry. Tommy Branham from Branham Sign Company has taken the time to personally design this, redesign it with our tweaks, and submit it. So that's where we're at. If you guys did you have anything to add, BJ?
I do, just a couple things. Appreciate the mayor's work on this, certainly has worked with Scott as well to see what can meet code in the downtown area. It's a prevalent building, need to make sure that it is appropriate. Also, the one big thing missing out of the projects this year is signage for that building. Thankfully, people have come to know to go there for the utilities department. At the same time, we have the chamber in there. There's no signage whatsoever on the outside of that building, so I feel it's necessary to get something down there.
Do we have money in the budget, for the Old Town Hall budget for this?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I've done already is go ahead, as a place saver, hold a requisition. That doesn't mean we're going to do this. If council said, nah, don't do this side. What that does is hold the money until the bills due, which will be after the first of the year. So it is there.
Okay. Two questions on the sign. I was looking through this, and I love it the way it is. So if we leave it the way it is, I'm cool with that. But I thought maybe I'm curious to hear what the rest of the committee thinks of this. On the top of the black posts, I think those lights were really good.
You'd like to see the lights?
I'm throwing it. I'm just testing the waters. Just that match the. I'm just testing the
The
waters.
stair lights, is that what you're thinking,
Yeah.
the globe?
I'm just throwing it out there. And then the other thing too is the.
That's what it would look like.
No, like I didn't mean like
Well,
that.
They would be in proportionate to the sign size. They wouldn't be the big globes that we have out there. Although, 2 points. I think they would look neat, but they serve no purpose. They're not going to put any light onto the sign.
That's the key point.
The can lines,
For me.
the can lights that are going to be shining up is going to put lights on. I like that as an ornate thing, but it's not necessary.
Okay, go ahead.
Thought on that, piggyback, I know it sounds like a negative, Nelly, but what are the odds if we do that they become just a target for, have we had any vandalism or anything with the lights on the stairs?
Nor the cannon, nor anything else. You know,
Right.
I know.
Good to know, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
no
kind
issues.
of ask that.
No issues. Although that would add to an expense, because then it would have to be wired.
Is wire in the ground already?
There's
Yes.
wire in the
I mean,
ground.
you could just run it, that shouldn't be, I mean, the can lights themselves would be expensive, but you could run wire right up to the inside of those posts.
I realize that.
But anyway, I'd like to hear
Again.
Tim's thought on that.
Well, having a sign out front of my business that I had to get through zoning and dance all the dance, I realized that, as the mayor said, the throwing of the light onto the sign doesn't happen from the top. And nor does it, even if you decided to move the lights there, the light doesn't shine down very well, it creates shadows. And so you really need the lights off the sign shining on it. And for me, I like this the way it is. Adding any more expense to it, I don't think is necessary.
It was all for cosmetics. I decided kind of give it that old kind of, I know that the light wouldn't really serve it, but just for looks.
If they were like, if either I thought, or Tommy Branham thought, or the mayor thought, we can do away with the lighting underneath and put the lights on the side, then I might be like, okay, but that's just adding something that really isn't necessary.
And adding the
bulbs
lights,
to change.
adding the lights to the top would then have to be directional, and then putting it back on the sign. You're not gonna, I know what you're looking for, but it's just not gonna work.
All
in
right,
this
let's
instance.
scrap the lights on the top. Here's my only other thought, and again, I'm curious on this. Could somebody, Kathy, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Just a thought, you may be able to get donations to cover the cost of those lights like you're talking about.
Okay.
That might be an option.
I mean, I know the theater's willing to chip in, maybe they wanna chip in for those, I don't know, but if we don't, if we don't like the way it looks, if I'm the only one that likes the way it looks, then let's just scrap it.
My fear is later wishing we had done it, and wishing we had run the wire up, and it not being there. So do you run it and cap it? I don't know, that seems like an
It
awful
can
lot.
certainly be wired for additional mounting to put 2 lights on top of there. I envision that being a DIY project anyway, so.
So it's almost like it would be a good idea to wire it and cap it and see what it looks like without the lights. And if we like it, then we leave it. And then if we feel like the lights are missing, then you have the opportunity. But I don't know how much you
But
want to do
if
that.
we
It's
do,
an awful lot of work.
I like that idea, if we do that, I would worry that it would never get done if we wanted to, but I get your point, so, I'm good either with or without.
Well, and I don't have a problem starting to explore with different lighting companies, just the right size globe that would fit the sign. I mean, we got the big globes on the theater, or on the old town hall. If we could find something that was ornate, that matched, that was smaller, that made it look nice.
So we wouldn't be buying them from him anyway.
No.
Okay, how about we just have him wire it like Suzanne said,
Okay.
and then we can, if we decide we want them, we can add them later.
One question I need to ask, and I don't know that it'll change how I feel about this, but the indoor-outdoor cork bulletin sign, are we looking at this as we're traveling north on Main Street or south on Main Street?
It will face, but there will be one on each
I
side.
understand, but on this sign, is the cork board next to the road
To kind of
on both sides? Or is it on the other side of the City of Pataskala logo on both sides?
Wherever you guys want it to be.
Well, if you want people to drive by and see it, closer to the road is probably better, but I don't.
You're not gonna be able to read anything driving by, unless you just put on there free lunch or something in big
Or
giant letters.
walk past it, right? The
Walk.
idea is for people on the sidewalk,
yes,
and if that's the case, I probably think you'd want the cork board closest to the sidewalk.
right.
But
Whether it's a movie poster or whether Chris is announcing when he's gonna be flushing hydrants or something like that, it's a notification board for people walking, not driving.
copy that. Okay, that's just a thought. Just
Sure,
Think about where it's gonna be.
I hear you.
The last thing is, the city of Pataskala sign. I think that the cork board, I like the way the cork board is, or the sign on below. I like how it looks. Could we make the city of Pataskala logo bigger, so it's proportional with that sign, where it would even go above and below the cross member, just like that does?
Make your notes on that sheet and give it to me of what we've discussed tonight so that I can take that in.
Thoughts?
Add the wiring and,
It looked fine enough for me to give the mayor my okay before. I like proportionality, and just because of how my brain looks at that, so that's something I didn't catch, but no, I don't wanna,
Okay.
if we're getting close to the point where he's had it with, input, I respect that. 'Cause it's
I'm making- It doesn't look real good, but. Okay, I'd like to get a motion to take it to council, and I'll make a motion tonight to approve it, so. Does anybody wanna make one, or you want me to make one?
If you're going to change it, you should make the motion.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to recommend to council, the sign in front of us with wire running up the post for lights additionally, and to make the city of Pataskala sign bigger, on the bottom.
I'll second that.
Roll?
Lee,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes?
Okay. Last item is, BJ, we were told that we may have a hiccup on the air conditioning project. You wanna update us on that?
Sure. So we were working with the company on the air conditioning, moving forward. That person has since resigned from the company. So that has stopped the company. I was told the company said they do not want to do it. Met with somebody from Bryan Heating and Cooling over there last week who is looking into what we could potentially do. His concern is maybe having to hire an architect to size the unit for that space. And met with him on Friday.
Okay.
It was late last week and should have information from him early this week that I can share with the committee. He was concerned about how big the unit needs to be. He talked about each person puts out 150 BTUs, which started to get lost on me. Told him that I don't know a whole lot about air conditioning. He spent some time, said he looked through it. His concern was having to get an architect involved to do it. So I told him what our budget was for it of $200,000. And he said, okay.
Okay.
So, but should be talking to him. His name, the mayor knows him, introduced me to him. His name's Ron Bryant. And, should be hearing from him early this week. Once I do, I'll get something out to everybody.
he's a local gentleman. I met him while I was at Massey's Pizza signing up Massey's for being a chamber member. And now he wants to be a chamber member. And I mentioned the air conditioning job to him.
I shared with him the general plans that have been done for it. He had some questions and concerns about ductwork coming up. He asked if ductwork could be exposed in the theater and painted. I told him to come up with what the options are that we could do for $200,000 and we'd go from there.
Okay.
I don't know if we necessarily want ductwork being exposed in the theater. It's not the best. He said it could go in the corners of the walls and the ceiling, be painted, it would be discreet. Also had concerns about getting equipment and ductwork up into the attic space with the little access that they have. That's why he brought that up. We'll be getting information from him.
Okay, fair enough. Any questions?
Now, the first one I have is the person that told us or intimated that he was moving forward with the air conditioning, obviously did not have those concerns.
Correct.
And this individual is related to his company in no way, shape, or form.
Which individual?
Second individual is not related to the first individual in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all.
Is the first individual's home company still viable in the city?
No, they said they did not. They're based in Cincinnati, and they said they did not want to do a retrofit, is what I was told. And that led to, and I hate to get into too much here, that is what led to the first person quitting their job.
Okay.
It's just, there's a piece of me that worries that if we had a professional who said you can do it, I got no problem with it, I got no problem with it at that price for the most part, and then we happen to, bump into is too strong a word, but we meet another individual in the city that has something to do with that, and they're asking questions like, well, can we leave ductwork exposed? It makes me think that somewhere betwixt and between those two, there may be I'm all for using city people, right? But I wanna make sure that we don't run
Where
into
this-
this.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Where this gets interesting and also can be ultimately be a cost saving is doing a design build like that. You know, the Facilities Commission does not require competitive bidding for this money. If they did, we'd have to go out and, hire a mechanical engineer that would draw plans, we'd have to bid it out, and that would be a significant portion of the money, to do that. So we are certainly working with people, what are your ideas, how can we do this? Doing a design build essentially.
My thought is let's go ahead and see where we're at with this guy, but if this falls through, we need to come up with like some type of plan B, because these people are expecting this. They have been for years, so I don't know if we wanna just, I hate to say start over, but maybe we need to get a couple other companies in there to look at it, if this doesn't work out. And I'm also afraid, I mean, at what point are we gonna lose the money?
We're good.
Okay.
I've talked to actually, trying to remember who it was called. And I can tell you in this situation with this facility money, because I asked them, they said there are many projects who are in the same situation with money. Outstanding is still available. So, I can't remember who, it was somebody, somebody with Honninger's office, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just see where we're at after the first of the year and,
I should know something this week from the guy from Brad.
okay.
Thank you.
I mean, ultimately, the other decision is, do we want to hire a mechanical engineer to go in there and design something and bid it out or do whatever? I mean, the money can be used for that, but that eats up some of the money for construction now.
I would think it would gobble up
It would,
A bunch.
and $200,000 sounds like a lot, but when you're retrofitting a building like that and have to go through it with ductwork and everything, it's not a whole lot of money.
Fair enough. Mayor?
Well, I would hope that, we were so close with Mr. Cameron, that I would hope that he could be able to give us the information, the ideas, or even, I don't care if it's something on a napkin, to be able to give to somebody else, if we were that close.
Certainly, something on a napkin's not gonna allow us to get permits.
I'm just saying,
Be
if we
drawn
can,
up to get
if we can reach out to him for his ideas, because, exposed ductwork was never an issue before. So if he's got some ideas, I'd like to pick his brain and know what they were planning to do, so maybe we can pass it on to the next gentleman. And not redesign the wheel, so to speak, minus the napkin.
Alright. Is everybody good? Anybody have anything else? You guys good?
Nothing further.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
What? Did you have something?
No, I didn't hear, did Suzanne move
Yeah,
to
she
adjourn?
did, yeah.
Second.
Kathy, roll.
Lee,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
You got that?
You got it.